Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of MMA JudgeCast. Man, what a hiatus it's been. It's been so long since I've been able to do this, and I'm excited to finally come back and do another episode. We've been, due to this quarantine with the whole COVID-19 virus, we haven't had any sports in general, or pretty much anything. Aside from the occasional trip to a supermarket or seeing people walk outside, we haven't been able to do anything, and unless you're into the whole Netflix thing or you found something to keep yourself distracted and motivated. But MMA is back, and it came in hard. Of course, we have to thank Dana White for trying to push this, all right, and bringing the UFC somewhere. He did try with his own little private island stuff until the governor of Florida, DeSantis, decided to make things more essential with the whole pro wrestling, and now MMA is able to piggyback off that. And we're in my home state of Florida, up in Jacksonville, okay, which is great. Hopefully that's going to open up more MMA gigs, and I'll be able to get back to judging, since I had a recent one in April that had to not do because of the whole COVID thing. It was going to be same situation, no audience, none of that stuff. It's just going to be the crew, the fighters, and whatever else was working there. And it was going to be for Unofficial, but things canceled. Anyway, let's get into the gritty of it. What a card it was. It was so good to watch, from the prelims all the way to the very last fight. Now, obviously, I'm not going to try to go through everything. Some of it I'm going off memory right now. I usually have my notes, but I really just didn't want to, on this first MMA fight coming back live, I really didn't want to be so analytical. I just wanted to sit back and enjoy things. However, let's just talk about the Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje fight. Wow, bro, that was good. That was really good. I think, Tony Ferguson, it's a little weird. You want to make up, excuses for whatnot, but before I even talk about any of the outcomes of the fights and this and that, it was really like the Justin show. You would expect it was still fireworks. Tony was fighting back. Justin was hitting hard. That's the beauty about MMA, and when there's no audience, you can hear everything, that's the stuff I can feel on ringside. When I'm on ringside and I'm adjudicating and taking down my scores, or even in training. But even in training, you shouldn't be hitting that hard. These guys were just looking to take the other dude's head off, and you would hear the thumps, the claps, those slaps. You heard it. And it was not just one dude hitting the other. Sometimes it was both of them. And it was just like something straight out of a movie, where they just collided and hit each other at the same time. It was very Rocky-esque, I would say. Any of those fighter movies. They even started looking like Tony started looking like one of those dudes from a movie. To pretty much give my rundown of that fight, it was, I'd say, the Tony show most of the time. Not the Tony show, the Justin. Justin pretty much got the first round. He looked very clean. He looked very solid. He kept to his standards. It was very Chuck Liddell-esque. You know how his style is. Yes, it's one-sided, but that one-sided works. You use your wrestling to keep the fight standing, and just work your ones and twos, and knock the dude out. It's very reminiscent to how Chuck Liddell was, wrestling to keep the fight standing, and then use your weapons of knockout, to take the guy out. So it's throughout this whole course, his toughness, his hands, they're showing it. Tony, he's got all this crazy stuff going on, all the weirdness where he weirds people out, and takes control and just throws non-stop volume at people and mauls them down. Had no effect on Justin. Justin just stayed composed the whole time. He looked like he was having fun, but he was composed. He kept all his shots clean and hard, very hard, and you can hear it. So, and it's kind of distracting because you're hearing the announcers as well. But I take that with a grain of salt because sometimes the bias from the commentators come out. But here I can tell they're trying to, not, and at least in this fight, try to stay off being so biased between one or the other, even though they hype up usually one fighter more than another. But yeah, the first round, all Justin Gaethje. That was a clear 10-9. The second round was also 10-9, still in control, controlling the center. Tony's running all over the place, trying to figure things out, but he's still the punching bag in that sense, which is really odd to see Tony in those situations once you start getting to the later rounds. In the mid-round, it was still the Gaethje show. I think that was the one where it could be in the third or the second round where Justin tried to steal that round, and he came in with this massive Hadouken. It was a huge uppercut. He just dug from the ground and just nearly missed Justin Gaethje at the end, but it looked like he was trying to steal that round at the end. Other than that, again, it was Justin's show all the way up to the TKO at the end. So it would have all been 10-9s no matter what. It's sad for somebody like Tony who would want to go out. He's never been taken out. But he was stopped. But, I agree with the stoppage in Herb Dean. He's a veteran as a ref. Yes, sometimes everything's subjective for refs and the decisions, just like us in judging. But in this incident where Herb Dean took the case and he decided what would be best, it looked like Tony had enough. Even though the fighter in Tony, his heart kept him in the fight, and it's just it was just so much that Herb Dean just took him out. But it was just another scene out of a movie. He kept on. The heart keeps him going. The heart keeps him going. Oh, he wanted to go all the way up to the final bell. But, Herb Dean threw in the towel for him in his corner. He just stepped in, and the little bobbling and these weird communications where you're doing all this stuff kind of is like a red flag for a referee, and they're going to step in and do that. So, it was a clear decision. Great fight. Congratulations, Justin Gaethje. You're more than deserving of all these fight of the nights and bonuses that you get. Tony, you are too, man. I feel like, people make the excuses like he's been training since November. It's really frustrating. And he was training for Khabib. Khabib is not a striker. Khabib is just you're expecting he's gonna maul him down and try to take him down. And Tony was just working more of that type of stuff, was the ground game, fighting for months and months and months. Whereas Gaethje, he's a stand-up guy. You're not going to really try to take him down too much because he's going to do his best to keep it up. But I think they had 6 months to prepare for this fight. That's a typical fight camp. I know it's a complete playbook change for Tony, not so much for Justin. And Justin, in his mind, I know he was preparing for Tony no matter what. He was preparing if the Khabib and Tony fight was to happen, and Tony was the victor of the two, Justin had that, because in all honesty, Justin should have been next in line after that proposed title fight. So I'm glad that Justin got the opportunity. He is interim champion, and now hopefully this Nurmagomedov Gaethje fight happens. Hopefully sooner than later, looking hopefully after Ramadan ends and, this crisis ends, we can see some, MMA, with the international fighters, and, Khabib's able to come from Russia so he can, unify this title against Gaethje, and let's see some fireworks there, Hopefully we get to see Tony make his comeback and do all for the best. So, as fight fans, as event workers, in the business, we were all treated to a great fight. Yeah, we didn't. It could be Tony fight that was hyped up for years. This would have been like the 5th time I think it was promoted and it failed, but we had a solid fight, man. Gaethje came out of nowhere and took care of business. We were gonna see fireworks, but then, how could we not? Huh? So on that end, great fight, loved it. It was Gaethje the whole way through. Super great clean game plan he had for Tony. Kept himself composed, very disciplined. That was the most disciplined I've seen him in any other fights I've seen him. And, my hat's off to him. Great job on both of them. Awesome fight. Thank you.